Hi everybody! Today we are going to be reading Chapter 6 and Chapter 7 of our book, Escape from Mr. Lemoncello's Library. Last week we were introduced to some new characters, one of them being Akimi, who was Kyle's best friend, and we were introduced to Dr. Zachinko, who works right under Mr. Lemoncello himself. So I'm hoping to learn more about this super cool library and to see if Kyle even gets picked for these 12 students who get to spend the night in the library on the very first night it opens. Okay, so let's get started reading on chapter number 6. Working on his library essay like he'd never worked on any essay in his whole essay writing life, Kyle crafted a killer thesis sentence that compared libraries to his favorite games. Using a library can make learning about anything and everything more fun, he wrote. When you're in a library researching a topic, you're on a scavenger hunt, looking for clues and prizes in books instead of your attic or backyard. He put in points and subpoints. He wrapped up everything with a nice, tidy conclusion. He even checked his spelling twice. But Akimi had been right. "I'm sorry, Kyle," Mrs. Cameron said when he handed her his new paper at the end of the day. "This is very good, and I'm impressed by your effort. However, the deadline was this morning. Rules are rules, the same as they are in all the board games you mentioned in your essay." She'd basically handed Kyle a Go Back 500 Spaces card, but Kyle refused to give up. He remembered how his mother had written to Mr. Lemoncello's Imagination Factory when he and his brothers needed a fresh set of clue cards for the outdoor scavenger hunt. Maybe he could send his essay directly to Mr. Lemoncello via email. Maybe if the game maker wasn't judging the essays until later that night, Kyle still had a shot. A long shot, but hey, sometimes the long ones were the only shots you got. The second he hit home, he sat down at his mother's kitchen computer. He attached his essay file to a high-priority email addressed to Mr. Lemoncello at the Imagination Factory. "What are you doing, Kyle?" his mom asked when she came into the room and found him typing on her computer. "Some extra credit homework." "Extra credit? School's out at the end of the week. So, you're not playing my Diner Dash game, are you?" "No, Mom, it's an essay about Mr. Lemoncello's amazing new library downtown." "Oh, sounds interesting. I heard on the radio there's going to be a gala grand opening reception this Friday night at the Parker House Hotel, right across the street from the old bank building, the new library." Kyle typed in a P.S. to his email. "I hope at the party on Friday you have balloons." He hit send. "Who did you send your essay to?" his mother asked. "Your teacher?" "No, Mr. Lemoncello himself. It took some digging, but I found his email address on his game company's website." "Really? I'm impressed." His mom rubbed his hair. "You know, this morning I said to your dad, Kyle can be as smart as Curtis and just as focused as Mike when he puts his mind to it." Kyle smiled. "Thanks, Mom." But his smile quickly disappeared when a bong alerted him to an incoming email from Mr. Lemoncello. It was an auto-response form letter. "Dear Lemoncello Game Lover, this is a no-reply mailbox. Your message did not go through. Do not try to resend or you'll just hear another bong. But thank you for playing our games." Ooh. So right now, in the part of the story that we're at, I'm kind of wondering if Kyle really is going to be one of these 12 people that get to stay in the library overnight on the first day it opens, because Mrs. Cameron just rejected his new essay, even though it was wonderful. So I'm also kind of wondering if Mr. Lemoncello is really going to get this email, because he got an email back, but it was one of those automatic responses. So I'm wondering if Mr. Lemoncello might even see Kyle's essay or not. So let's kind of find out with chapter number 7. Heading back to school on Tuesday, Kyle knew he had to put on a brave face. He smiled as he walked in his class toward the auditorium for a special early morning assembly, the one where Mr. Luigi L. Lemoncello himself could announce the winners of the library lock-in essay contest. "I hope he picks yours," Kyle whispered to Akimi. "Thanks, I do too. But the lock-in won't be as much fun without you." "Well, when it's over and the library is officially open, you can take me on a tour." "That's exactly what I'm going to do, if I win. If you don't, I'm sending a flaming squirrel after Mrs. Cameron." For this assembly, the 7th graders, most of whom were 12 years old, were told to sit in the front rows close to the stage. That made Kyle feel a little better. At least he'd have a chance to see Mr. Lemoncello up close and personal. But his hero wasn't even on stage. Just the principal, the school librarian, Mrs. Younghans, and a red-headed woman in high-heeled shoes who Kyle didn't recognize. High-heel shoes, red hair. Does that character sound familiar to you? Do you remember the name? I think she sounds kind of familiar as being Dr. Zachenko. Let's find out. She sat up straight like someone had slipped a yardstick down her back, down the back of her bright red business suit. Her glasses were bright red, too. That's Dr. Yanya Zachenko, gushed Miguel Ferdinand, who was sitting on Kyle's right side. Who's she? asked Akimi, seated to Kyle's left. Just the most famous librarian in the whole wide world. All right, boys and girls, said the principal at the podium. Settle down, quiet please. It is a great honor to introduce the head librarian for the new Alexandriaville Public Library, Dr. Yanya Zachenko. Everybody clapped. The tall lady in the red outfit strode to the microphone. Good morning. Her voice was breathy, with just a hint of a Russian accent. 12 years ago, this town lost its one and only public library when it was torn down to make room for an elevated parking garage. Back then, many said the internet had rendered the old-fashioned library obsolete, that a new parking garage would attract shoppers to the boutiques and dress shops near the old bank buildings. But the library's demolition also meant that those of you who are now 12 years old have lived your entire lives without a public library. She looked down at the front rows. This is why, to kick off our summer reading program, 12-year-olds will be selected to be the very first to explore the wonders awaiting inside Mr. Lemoncello's extraordinary new library. You will, of course, need your parents' permission. We have slips for you to take home. You will also need a sleeping bag, a toothbrush, and, if you please, a change of clothes. She smiled mysteriously. You might consider packing 2 pairs of underwear. Okay, thought Kyle. That's bizarre. Did the librarian really think 7th graders weren't toilet trained? There will be movies, food, fun games, and prizes. Also, each of our 12 winners will receive a $500 gift card towards the purchase of Lemoncello games and gizmos. Oh man, $500 worth of free games and gear? Kyle sank a little lower in his seat. The next time someone gave him an extra credit essay assignment, he'd turn it in early. And now, here to announce our winners, the man behind the new library, the master gamester himself, Mr. Luigi Lemoncello. Dr. Zachenko gestured to her left. The whole auditorium swung their heads. People were clapping and whistling and cheering, but nobody came on stage. The applause petered out. And then, on the opposite side of the stage, Kyle heard a very peculiar sound. It was a cross between a burp and the squeak of a squeeze toy. That ends our chapter. I wonder what happens. I am very eager to find out chapter number 8 tomorrow. Okay, so join me again tomorrow for our next read aloud. Bye.